Hey, I'm Baby Queen.
Hi, I'm Katie Beza.
Hey, this is Ram McMullen.
Hi guys, Lara here.
Hey, I'm Jim from Koala.
Hi, I'm Undressed.
And you are listening to Léim Thart.
And you're listening to Léim Thart.
And you're listening to Léim Thart.
It's out now.
I really hope you enjoy it.
So enjoy.
We're coming into the summer on Léim Thart, and possibly with the perfect album, I think, for summer incoming. It's Girly. You, as I just said, have like the best hair of anyone I've interviewed in the last while, and a great album to go with it.
Oh my God, thank you on intro. Thank you so much.
No, delighted to be talking about all this because you have a new album, It's Just My Opinion, out on the 8th of May. You must be really excited for that.
I am, yeah. It feels so, I feel like an album, you spend about a year making it, and then you spend about a year sort of promoting it and hyping up to it and teasing it out. And then when it's finally here, it's like, oh my God, it's real. Like it's actually something that's going to come out. But I'm so excited. I've been really like vlogging the whole time, the whole process, like through making it and then promoting it and trying to get it in the UK charts and all that stuff. And I think my fans are honestly, they're just like, sis, drop the album already, drop the music, stop talking about it. So it's time.
Okay, well, I'm very lucky because I have had it and I've been listening to it. So I got the cheeky listen. And I think that the vlog is probably going to make a good like documentary if you've been vlogging the whole thing.
Totally. Yeah, in the big documentary of my life in, 50 years. I mean, I'll still be alive, obviously, hopefully in 50 years. Jesus. I mean, who knows? Who knows whether any of us will be alive, but that's a whole nother interview. But
Woo!
yeah. Whoa. But yeah, they'll use all the vlogs, all the endless footage that I've uploaded to the internet.
Fantastic. So listening to the album, it's very cinematic pop, and it's, I've spoken to a lot of people that, the music I like, and, I enjoy the music, but every so often something hits and I'm just like, that's a bit of you, Rory. And this was a bit of me. It feels so perfectly cinematic as we come into the summer. Like we finally just got the sun back here in Ireland. I want to say I manifested it because it's been shit for several months, like months longer than we expected. And about a week ago, I finally bought a new bottle of sun cream because I was just like, when it comes, you want to be ready. And I got to use it way sooner than I thought. So I can imagine, I took myself down to the water to sit yesterday for the first time of the year. And that's a big ritual or kind of big milestone moment every year. And I think this album will become a perfect soundtrack for that and being in the car in the sun and stuff.
Oh my God, amazing. This out while you're slapping on that SPF 50, the album's in the background. I love that. Yeah, I kind of always forget. I never intended it to sort of be an album for a specific season, but my last album also came out in May. That was in 2024. And that also ended up being, a really summery feeling album. I think it's like if an album comes out in the summer, it's people are blasting it and dancing to it, and it's kind of like a sharing vibe. And if an album comes out in the winter, it's a very solitary, a bit more like, I'm really feeling myself with this album, which I think this one could be both. So, maybe people will have different experiences with it in different seasons.
I'm sure more people probably haven't heard of your music yet, and they will come onto it in the next few months. So it could end up being that for them. I think a lot of albums, they are trying to tell one big story, or there might be a collection of stories. Other ones, they kind of ease you into what they're getting with. Other times they smack you in the face. And when I press play on your album, the first track, Blue Sky, I had to pause it like very quickly because sometimes something shakes so much that you just have to anticipate what's happening and take a breather. And I checked how long it had been. 3 seconds.
I'm sad. Oh my God, it's so funny.
You hadn't said a word yet, and I was just like, oh, we're on. We're so on for this.
We're on. That's so funny. I love that. 3 seconds in, you're like, I need a breather.
Yeah, it's been about 6 months since a song has grabbed me like that. So on the way to the album, you've released a few singles ahead of time. There was Better Undressed, Slap on the Wrist, Romantic Sadness, and Squirm. I also particularly loved Bones when listening
Thank
to it.
you.
It was all just, again, really fun to listen to. I know it's the lyrics are probably not meant to be entirely fun, but you definitely dressed it all up in a very good way. I suppose to give that the same word I keep using, very cinematic. I think, I feel like there should be some sync money coming your way for this.
Oh, let's put that out into the ether. Sync people, movies, TV shows. Hello.
Yes, we brought
My
the sun
music.
by buying the sun cream, so we're
Yes,
gonna manifest the
exactly.
sync money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Totally.
and it was now tone it down a little. It was a little heavy what your sister had to say to you about romantic sadness and the quote that you included. It's hard when you can't even romanticize the sadness anymore, and it's just sad. What a gut punch that was to listen
I
to and to
know.
read.
I know. My sister, I mean, I get so much inspiration from talking to her because she's such a poetic person and she's really good at romanticizing her life and just making everything, even through the painful bits, just, it's all like part of the journey. And she's an artist and not a musical artist, but an artist in so many ways. And yeah, I was talking to her about heartbreak and she was going through a breakup that was pretty rough and she said that and I was like, pause. I paused her like you paused the songs and I was like, stop. We're writing that down. And yeah, it ended up being a song, ended up being a single. It was really cool. I love when like you can exactly trace when you were inspired to write something.
Yeah, it's a real magical moment when something stops you dead in your tracks like that.
Yeah, totally.
And so, what I'm interested in is like who were you listening to while making this album? Because sometimes people will say something that it could be a direct reference, or it could be something that people are reminded of when listening to the music. But other times they say like a complete oddball answer, and you're thinking, where did this line up?
Yes. Do you know what? I actually am gonna get my phone because I wrote a list of all the artists I was listening to while I was writing the album because I was like, I'll 100% forget this. And I know people will ask me. So I actually
Are you a list person?
I am a list person. I'm so
Love a
weird.
list.
Love a list. So I was listening to a lot of Haim and a lot of
Mm,
Lizzie McAlpine, randomly, really into her. I was also listening to a lot of Avril Lavigne, which I think you can hear on the album in places.
yes.
I was listening to some Maisie Peters, love her.
Very good.
Um, I was also listening to the Au Clue album. Um, she's got that song called Blade Bird, which is so good. And Wolf Alice, I was listening to Julia Wolf, Ethel Kane. I was listening to a lot of the indie girls, the indie girls. And then I was at the same time, then I added to the list, I was like, I was also listening to Addison Rae, Zara Larsson, Oh Seven Oh Shake, Slater, Muna, Holly Humberstone. So it was a real mix, but it's interesting because it was a lot more of the indie girlies and then mixed in with the classic, I've always been such a pop fan. And my last album, I was listening to pretty much exclusively super polished pop, still like really interesting, alternative queer pop, but I was listening to a lot of Kim Petras and I was listening to um a lot of like Britney and amazing pop music, but the production was a lot more polished and a lot of what was kind of going in my ears this time round was a lot more guitars, a lot more live music, a lot more kind of some rockier stuff, and that really influenced the way the album sounds, definitely.
You can definitely hear all of that. I'm also curious the album name, it's just my opinion. Firstly, great for avoiding any libel cases down the road.
It's just my opinion.
What is your unpopular opinion or opinions if you have some? Do you get any flack for some things?
Well, I mean, I think the reason I actually chose that album name was because I chose the name really late on in the campaign. I'd already released some of the songs of the album and I still didn't know what the album was called. And I was promoting Slap on the Wrist, which is I mean, I don't think political is the wrong word because I don't think it should be political to think that rapists should go to prison. But like it's the most, I guess, like protesty activism kind of inspired like song. And yeah, and it's about it's about like perpetrators of sexual violence getting away with no repercussions, which is so prevalent in the worldwide news at the moment. And it sort of came out, and then um everything about the Epstein files was coming out at the same time. It was a really crazy time to sort of release that song. And what I found, I think it was just after TikTok had been bought by one of Donald Trump's like main donors or something. It was like I released that song, and then suddenly all of the main social medias were owned by MAGA people. And so many of my videos were ending up on this horrendous side of those platforms where it was just so many misogynistic men in my comments. And I realized like so much of the hate speech and the spewing of these like awful ideas that I was seeing under my posts, and I was kind of like we were learning about more of we were finding out about the manosphere and all these kind of things I was like, wow, the amount of people who justify hatred by just saying it's just my opinion. And I was like, well, an opinion is a really powerful, strong thing. It's not just like that. It's, and I just thought about the amount of people who, yeah, sort of throughout my life, I've seen justifying homophobia and transphobia and misogyny and racism by being like, look, it's just my opinion. It's like an opinion is a really powerful thing. And so there was that. And then it was also sort of thinking about how well all these people commenting under my posts, all these hateful things, are looking at me and thinking she's just a silly little girl on the internet. It's her opinion doesn't matter. So it was sort of a double-edged sort of meaning of, oh, it's just my opinion, so you don't care, basically. So that was the background. But I mean, the funny thing is, do I have any unpopular opinions or controversial opinions? I think my opinions are really baseline and really should not be controversial. Like, women and minorities deserve to feel safe. But every time I was sharing stuff like that, and still, occasionally, so not every time, but occasionally, those videos will end up with so many angry people, and underneath them in the comments. And it's like, why does this make you angry? It shouldn't make you angry. Like, I'm not insulting you. I'm saying these people deserve a better situation. So yeah.
Damn. Sorry, there was a lot there.
There was so much there. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. That's what we want to hear. And with the album, you're going across the UK with a bunch of record store appearances. What can the listeners expect?
We're going to do a really fun kind of hybrid performance vibe where we have an acoustic section of the set, and then we have a sort of girly-oky, like karaoke situation where for some
Fantastic.
of my for some of my biggest songs, I just think, look, the fans know these lyrics, and I wouldn't want to not play them. I'm playing mostly the new album, but I want to give the fans what they want to. I want to play them some of the older songs that they love, and yeah, we're doing a sort of karaoke vibe. And then I'm doing meet and greets. I mean, I'm really pushing for a chart position this time, so I'm just absolutely guns blazing, meeting everyone, signing everything, being like, have you bought the album? And la la la. And the great thing about the installs is, yeah, everyone who's coming to them has supported me in that chart plight because they've bought the album to be there. So cool.
Great to see that support. Girly, the album, It's Just My Opinion, out on May 8th. You can go get a copy because you can hold it in your hands. And if you're a UK Léim Thart listener, you can go to one of the in-stores all across the place. And yeah, thanks for coming on to Léim Thart for a chat.
Thank you so much for having me.